Hello everyone, in this video I will be answering the question, are Master Vault of Glass weapons worth it? Let me explain. At baseline, they are worth it if you have a strong team to consistently chase these weapons. They only cost you 5 more spoils and a piece of your soul to roll a Timelost weapon compared to the base versions. Being that they are Timelost, also known as Adept weapons, you may equip Adept mods, such as Boss Spec and Adept Icarus. Additionally, you can get perk combinations easier with these Timelost weapons. In fact, you can get absolute god rolls that can be altered and used in different kinds of content. The reason why they're not worth it is you don't really need them to complete any content. They are more of a trophy than a true increase to your arsenal. Sure, Adept mods can give you a slight increase to some stats or a slight increase to damage across multiple enemy types, see Boss Spec, but the bottom line remains that if you have a normal version of a Vision of Confluence with a better roll than your Timelost Vision of Confluence, the normal version will always be better. Now, statistically, normally it is a 1 in 36 chance to get the roll you want with just the main perks. But with the Timelost weapons, you have a much higher chance of getting the roll you want. Your chances with the Timelost weapon is about 1 in 25, which to be fair, still pretty slim, but some Timelost weapons, such as the Fatebringer and the HEZEN Vengeance, are guaranteed to be great rolls right out of the box. Other weapons, such as Praedyth'sRevenge and Vision of Confluence, yeah, not so much. HEZEN Vengeance, I would say, yeah, pretty much worth it. You'll always roll Overflow with cluster bombs, which is honestly pretty good for PvE. Currently, the rocket is one of the best PvE weapons, and the best roll for PvE is most likely Overflow with either Lasting Impression or Vorpal. In the last column, you could go for Demolitionist or Cluster Bombs, but most likely Vorpal or Lasting Impression. You could even roll it for PvP if you were to get Impulse Amplifier with Cluster Bombs. And you'll notice that since you're always rolling Overflow with Cluster Bombs, you only have to go for either Impulse Amplifier with Cluster Bombs for the PvP roll, or Overflow with one of the 4 other perks. So that's really high chances to get a really good weapon. Moving on, we'll look at the Vision of Confluence. I mean, it's kind of not worth it in my opinion. I mean, you'll always roll Zen Moment and Full Auto, which is okay. I mean, it was the only roll we had for Vision in the original Destiny, so you can't really say it's terrible. I would say the Vision is really only good for PvE at the moment. The best PvE roll probably would be Rewind Rounds with Frenzy, or Disruption Break if you're actually working on Barrier Champions. An alternative roll that you might see next season is Wellspring with Firefly, or maybe Thresh, which is really good for ability builds. If you wanted to take the Vision to PvP, I would recommend in the first column to have Surplus or Tunnel Vision with Kill Clip. Next over is the corrective measure. Is it worth it? I mean, in the state that machine guns are in Season 14, I'd say not really. I mean, it is the correct archetype for PvP, so it's really strong with PvP right now. You will always roll Dynamic Sway Reduction with Firefly, which is okay I suppose, but I believe we can do better. For PvP, you'd most likely want to roll Surplus or Dynamic Sway Reduction in the first column, with Tap the Trigger in the final column. The best PvE roll would most likely be Rewind Rounds or Subsistence with One for All, which is great for ad clear. An alternative roll you could get, and this one's very unique, is Demolitionist with Adrenaline Junkie. You can do very unique things with this machine gun. Next up, Praedyth'sRevenge. This weapon, man, it is definitely worth it actually. You will always roll Feeding Frenzy with Firefly, which honestly is pretty bad. But like I said, whenever you have these already slotted, you don't have to worry about rolling them anymore. So it becomes a 1 in 25 chance once again. It's really good in PvE, especially if you roll Rewind Rounds with high impact reserves. You could roll Rewind Rounds with Frenzy as well. The best PvP roll is pretty flexible actually. You can get quick draw, no distractions, or moving target in the first column, and in the second column you get high impact reserves, that way you can double body shot people, or you get opening shot, that way you can have an easier time landing all of your headshots. Next up, Fatebringer. This weapon, also super worth it. You'll always roll explosive payload with Firefly, which is probably the best curated roll out of all the Timelost weapons. The best PvE rolls are the curated roll, explosive payload and Firefly, Thresh with Firefly, explosive payload with Frenzy, and I'll give an honorable mention to Osmosis with Adrenaline Junkie, which sounds really bad, but I guarantee you, if you actually use it and give it a try on some grenade builds, it's actually very strong. This weapon actually is able to get a mega god roll, in my opinion. With curated roll, where you have explosive payload and Firefly, you could also roll Thresh and Frenzy. If you roll Thresh and Frenzy, you basically have three weapons in one. For PvP, I would recommend going with explosive payload with opening shot, or going for tunnel vision or killing wind with kill clip. Finally, the found verdict. Is this weapon really worth your time? I'm gonna say not really. You'll always roll full auto with Vorpal, and it's honestly kind of just a PvP weapon. Until they change up this archetype of shotgun, it's gonna probably just be a PvP mainstay. If you wanted to use it in PvE, I would recommend using autoloading holster with either Demolitionist, 1-2 punch, Vorpal, or Frenzy in the final column, which is a good amount of options and is very flexible. For PvP, you're definitely going to want Surplus or Slide Shot, depending on your playstyle, with either Demolitionist, Opening Shot, Killing Wind, or Vorpal, which again is a lot of flexibility in that role. Alright guys, I want you to let me know what you think about the Timelost weapons. Are they worth it? Are they not? Are they trash? Or are they treasure? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. That way the channel can grow and this video can be seen by more people. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.